How's YouTube going for you? The latest from podnews.net with co-host, powerful podcast hosting for agencies and brands. Magellan AI will announce today support for measuring the impact of traffic coming from YouTube alongside podcast and streaming audio. Jim Ballas, head of publisher partnerships at Magellan AI, said in podcasting there's historically been a gap in analytics with video viewership and results, leading to an over-reliance on modelling or guessing. We're excited, he says, to bring a data-forward solution into the marketplace. Just announced, Sprinkler Insights, an AI-powered social monitoring product, is now using Podchaser's API to listen to and measure conversations happening on podcasts. Podcast Movement announced 50 new sessions for its event in Denver in Colorado this August. OSHA has launched OSHA Pro, specifically designed for professional creators of branded podcasts. Launched earlier this month, Scribbler is a tool that produces summaries of podcasts. The Verge has written a feature article called Spotify's Podcast Plan is going off the rails. We'll link to that today. Black-owned podcast app Haiti has signed a partnership deal with the Black Podcasters Association. Patreon has announced a free membership tier, allowing creators to welcome fans to their communities, share any kind of creative work directly with them, and get insights into their most engaged audience. Additionally, a new commerce tool allows creators to sell digital products. Apple Podcasts for Creators has now been localized in 6 additional languages. In addition to English, the site is now available in French, German, Japanese, Korean, Spanish, and traditional Chinese. Odyssey announced a distribution and monetization deal with TuneIn. There's a new podcast studio in Saratoga in the US. It was opened with a ribbon-cutting ceremony yesterday. And if you're a fan of corporate jargon, oh, have I got something for you. Audio and podcast player owner Audia has issued a corporate update after the company executed 2 non-binding LOIs with its buy-side M&A strategy. There's plenty more of that in the press release, including upcoming de novo MAU growth data and promises to reduce current burn. In People News, Kim Loseby has been announced as SCA's head of digital ad product and operations. In her new remit, Loseby will oversee the creation and development of all digital advertising products across the Listener platform. And Steve Carsey has taken over as chair of Audio Train, the training and skills initiative run by producers trade body Audio UK, which increases skills and knowledge for audio production professionals making podcasts, radio and audiobooks. He also runs Storyglass, the podcast studio at Bertelsmann. And in podcast news, Media Roundtable features our editor, James Cridland, that's me, breaking down the biggest news in the media world alongside Ricardo Martinez and Charisse Miller. The podcast also looks at how to track success in podcasting, including ROAS versus CPA. We're back to the jargon again. Inside West Point, Ideas That Impact is a new podcast from the US Military Academy at West Point and hosted by its dean, Brigadier General Shane Reeves. Recently, the monthly show covered the use of drones and other mapping technologies to map the Arctic or for helicopter landing zones. Summer Camp, The Case of the Phantom Pooper is new from Sonar, following camp director Mookie as he struggles to solve a string of seriously smelly pranks at a Canadian summer camp. The show blends true crime, mystery and investigative reporting with all the nostalgia of summer camp. The 7-part show features authentic audio and interviews with campers and counsellors, plus music by Matt McGinley, who produced the music for Serial, S-Town and This American Life. Sound Off with Katie Henriksen is a show about music challenging the status quo, which launched its 2nd season yesterday. The podcast features in-depth conversations going deep with those sounds to explore creativity at the intersection of art, music and literature, to dig into what that work and the people making it tell us about art and life in the 21st century. And the fan favourite history podcast, The Last Archive, created by Harvard historian and New Yorker staff writer Jill Lepore, returns with season 4 today. Hosted this season by lead producer Ben Nadaf Hafri, the 4th season will feature 6 cinematic and standalone episodes that will trace the history of how we know what we know. This podcast is sponsored by Co-Host and Quill. Agencies and brands need better podcast analytics. Discover companies that listen to your podcast, where downloads are coming from, and how listeners are resonating with Co-Host at cohostpodcasting.com. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.